Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Losses Above Replacement podcast, the greatest baseball podcast to grace your ears. I'm today's host, Mathias Kurosaki, and with me today are our very own blue chip can't miss prospects, Ryan Splash Potts and Alex Clark. Gentlemen, first things first, we're recording this in the daytime, which is a rarity for us. How are y'all doing on this fine Monday afternoon?
Well, yeah, we're recording this Monday because I am currently at this moment unemployed. Fun times. No, it's fine. Honestly, I'm excited to have a little bit of time off at this point. But, honestly, doing interesting. Like, there's a lot of news that we're going to talk about today that I'm still kind of in shock about. And I think I'm personally, and I think you guys are probably too, going to use this podcast as a way to kind of get that shock out a little bit.
I definitely feel that. I'll tell you that much.
Man, I just feel honored to have been a Braves fan during the Max Stassi tenure. I can't remember a more inspirational player. I think generations of Atlanta sports fans will grow up wearing his number, trying to emulate him, and trying to be him on the field. Just an unbelievable tenure. Marco Gonzalez as well. Just a great player. Great philanthropist with the Braves. And you can't forget about Evan White. So you have that trifecta. So it's tough to see three of the greatest players to ever lace them up depart from the Braves, but shout out to the Braves.
Yeah, I remember I remember there was the one off season the Mets signed we're supposed to sign Yorvit Torrealba to be their new catcher, and then he failed his physical. And then they traded for Johnny Estrada from the Brewers, and they non-tendered him immediately. So, and then, of course, how can we forget Carlos Correa? His amazing tenure with the Giants, and then the Mets.
Don't forget about Arson Judge's amazing tenure
Arson
with the
Judge
Giants.
had a great tenure with the Giants.
Shout out to Juan Soto, member of the New York Yankees.
John Soto, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Juan Soto, the best player of all time.
Yeah.
And John Dowd, of course.
Who would you rather have? Who would you rather have in a home run derby, Arson Judge or John Soto?
Oh man, that's a tough question.
That's a tough one. They're two all-time greats.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think John Dowd beats both of them. So
that's fair. But Sitch obviously wins it all, though.
Man, I gotta.
Can he beat Pablo Sanchez?
Darn it, Mac!
I don't know if Pablo can beat anybody. Pablo's the legend. He's the GOAT. So I don't know about that.
I think Mario beats both of them.
I mean, if you're going pure power,
Bowser,
you got to go
man.
Petey Piranha. Yeah, Petey and Bowser both outslug Mario.
And Donkey Kong, bro. Like,
respect Homer Longballo.
Okay, I do respect Homer.
Yeah, same.
I do respect that.
Yeah, I will say I'm doing all right. I'm about to go on a little vacation this week. Going to go visit my brother down in Atlanta. So looking forward to that. I'm chilling. Obviously, we have a lot to talk about, and the biggest news of the week is definitely this morning the Mets signed Rylan Bannon to a minor league contract. I think this is a game-changing move. They also signed Michael Tonkin last week, Braves legend.
Tonka truck, baby.
Exactly. So I think that those are definitely the biggest moves of the offseason so far. Okay, with all due respect to those guys, obviously, first and foremost, we have to talk about Shohei Ohtani. We were just talking about, the 10 years of, Arson Judge on the Giants or Carlos Correa on the Giants, but how about the 30 minutes when we all thought Shohei Ohtani was heading to the Blue Jays? That was a time to be alive, folks. I mean,
shout out to Kevin G.O.D.
Oh my God. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. First of all, I don't think honest answer. Did either of you guys have the Blue Jays on your radar as a potential landing spot for Ohtani?
Yeah, I did for a little bit. Didn't. I did for a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I thought that overall it wasn't as outlandish as I think some other teams going for him. And I think it would have at least been interesting. The team's good. It makes a little bit of sense that he would go there, but I also definitely understand every reason why he went to the Dodgers. Just shout out to all the Blue Jays fans. If you know a Blue Jays fan, make sure you go give them a hug and tell them they kind of need it right now.
So if we recall last week on the podcast, my 3 words were Toronto Blue Balls. And I think that was the
Right.
best
Dead
outside
on.
of the
That was
outside of
dead
the
on, my friend.
yes. I think other than DMing your ex for Carlos Correa going back to the Twins, I think that's like the most brilliant thing ever said on this podcast. But speaking of brilliant, if you're Shohei Ohtani, you get $700 million deposited into your bank account. You can buy 212 million jars of pickles, 282
Sounds pretty
million
good.
bags of Heath Bit O'Brickle chips, and our favorite, you can buy 46 million copies of MLB Power Pros 2008. So hopefully Shohei does that and gives one to every single person living in Los Angeles, and then distributes them to the greater Los Angeles area and Southern California area, so we can all play MLB Power Pros together, even though you don't support online play. But anyways,
Yet.
yes, yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We're the spokespeople of MLB Power Pros 2025.
If you also, if you do want to play other Power Pros content stuff, and it is fairly cheap on PlayStation and on the Nintendo Switch, $1 you get WBSC Baseball, which Power Pros Baseball, which is actually pretty good. It's fun as a simulator and an online game.
This is a fun time.
So I mean, it's just, I mean, when I saw the numbers, I'll be honest. I mean, look, I predicted the Dodgers would get Ohtani from the get-go, but I was thinking, all right, maybe he'll get $600 million. I did not see 700 million as a possibility.
I didn't either.
And I mean, I'm still in shock, really. It's just, I mean, it's been like 48 hours, and I still can't believe that. If I'm not mistaken, the largest contract in professional sports history.
Yep.
I believe the second largest was Messi getting 555 million from Miami FC. I mean,
I think wasn't third Julio, because when that deal was made, had the potential to be the highest.
yeah, same with Mike Trout's extension, which is like, I think it was around 430 or something. I believe previously the largest free agent contract given out was Judge last offseason, 360.
Right, yeah.
So this is nearly double
insane.
that.
Yeah, that's. Let me speak on this for just a second here, right?
Yeah.
When the news hit me, I was actually playing Pokemon on stream with a friend of mine, and I audibly went, "Whoa!" dropped my phone, and just stopped for a minute. I thought that honestly what I read was a mistake. Because we were talking on podcasts, right, that, 600 may have been a bit of an overstretch for Ohtani. That 600 is about, I would be understandable if it was closer to 6 than 500 million. But when the news came out that it was $700 million over 10 years, AAV, that's 70 million a year, which isn't what's happening. Obviously, we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But $700 million for arguably the most valuable player in all of baseball. I was talking about this with family, that we're slowly starting to see here. We've been looking at it for a while. How long is it going to be till we get to the first $1 billion contract? And on top of it, now that slow rise towards that number just took a huge leap forward. Consider that the last one was like what, $550 million in for Messi, as you were saying, and now it's 700 million. That's $150 million jump there, folks.
Yeah, it just. I'll say this also is that I was on the train back home with my roommate, and so I was underground when the news broke, so I didn't have service. I don't know. I started getting messages, like someone sent it in a group chat I'm in, of like it was the tweet from Jeff Passan. I thought it was a fake account at first. I was like, $700 million. There's no way. Like I wasn't surprised that he picked the Dodgers. And by the way, shout out to him for breaking the news himself. on his
It's
Instagram
one of the
page.
blurriest photos I've
I know.
ever.
You could have
Yeah.
used a bit higher quality maybe to for your logo. I mean, you're getting paid all that money. But I do want to know your guys' thoughts on the format of this contract, which is over half of it is going to be deferred, which I know Bobby Bonilla sort of pioneered this when he signed his contract back well, it they negotiated this in 1999, but you know, so it's $700 million over the life of the contract. Now, I do not know how long this will last. Like I know Max Scherzer's contract with the Nationals is he's getting paid over 15 years. I know Chris Davis is getting paid till 2037. What are your guys' thoughts on the Dodgers opting to defer most of this money?
So my first thought on this is the Dodgers are shooting themselves in the foot. And then in the other foot, and then the other leg, and then the other leg. Like, here's the thing. Right now, in the short term, it is great. In the short term, it is you are saying, all right, we are making a very established window. You're freeing up a lot of money that would have been like you're freeing up a lot of cash here to go and get other people, right? To go and supplement that, which is very smart. When you have the best player in baseball, it's kind of what you got to do. But at the same time, you are now sacrificing this playoff window. So you're sacrificing by getting this playoff window over a decade, potentially, from these deferred payments that you're just going to have so much dead cap. Because, like, what? If we're saying that it's over half of the contract is deferred, how much are they going to be paying per year to Ohtani when that's deferred? Like $30 million in just pure dead cap? That is insane. In the short term, it makes sense and it's a huge risk, but there's a very definite guarantee of a downside. And that's going to be that for over a decade, we are more than likely going to see the Dodgers as a very either minimalist team or an outright just dumpster fire of a team.
I think I disagree with every single thing you said, Alex. The difference between Ohtani and other players you might have on a deferred contract is it's Ohtani. And the Dodgers did this sort of deal with Fernando Valenzuela, and you get the Fernando Valenzuela, Mexican baseball player, legend of the game. They finally retired his jersey. If you are a Mexican baseball fan, you probably like the Dodgers. This is the sort of move. If you're a Japanese baseball fan, you're going to, in all likelihood, become a Dodgers fan if they're winning, and they're playing as well as they probably should here. And of course, the Dodgers were one of the first teams in this pool with Hideo Nomo, the god himself, the MLB power.
That's legend. Yep.
So I think the money here is just entirely irrelevant. If you're the Dodgers and you are getting one of a very large population of baseball fans that are going to be buying Shohei Ohtani Dodger jerseys, they're going to be buying Shohei Ohtani bobbleheads, they're going to be buying Shohei Ohtani every memorabilia, they're going to be I don't know how the TV revenue plays into this, but I would imagine if you're the Dodgers, you can negotiate better deals for like TV rights, any like rights. It's just a like massive escalator for your money making here, and I think that's just going to cover everything that you can. Even if Ohtani is an entire bust with the Dodgers, it entirely goes wrong. He retires before the contract ends. It doesn't go well. Whatever. It's still going to be a massive, massive, worthwhile investment just in the infrastructure of baseball, the infrastructure of baseball fandom. And I was listening to the owner of Fanatics was talking about learning like how fans think. Well, if you just make all the fans Dodger fans for a group of people, that's just going to help everything. That's going to help sales. It's going to help. People are going to buy Betts jerseys. People are going to buy Freeman jerseys. People are going to buy Will Smith jerseys. People are going by apparently future Cy Young Award winning pitcher. What's this freaking name? I'm blanking on the guy. The
there are a lot of them. So
Bryce.
like,
No, not Bryce.
Bobby Miller.
Yeah, Bobby Miller. So when he eventually wins 73 Cy Youngs, like Dodger fans think he will, you'll have a bunch of jerseys there. So I think it's just a worthwhile investment. I think it's a better money investment than it is a baseball investment.
So, okay, let me just quickly address
And
that.
it's a pretty good baseball investment.
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying here, Splash. I think in the short term, for the next 10 years, it's going to be fantastic for the Dodgers. It's going to do good because of the exact same things, especially considering the other fact of it that all the Angels fans are now turning into, that were only Ohtani fans, are now turning fully into Dodger fans. So not only are you also taking like fans from around the country as well, you're also taking fans away from your down the road rival too. So I completely understand that. I completely agree with that, but that's not the point that I'm making here. The point that I'm making here is that once you get past Ohtani, when Ohtani is retired, now you are going to have a team that is not going to be able to field any real teams at this point. You're going to have a team that is going to be continually now just only trying to work on merchandise from a team that was a decade ago. That's the big problem that I have here, is because now when you have 30-40 million dollars of just pure dead cap every year, we're talking about other teams that if they had that amount of money that they could turn into World Series contenders. You're looking at a team right now that is going to be that far down, and a lot of teams that have those deferred contracts that when they're finally having to now pay on them, they're starting to lose their own momentum because they just aren't playing on the same playing field as everyone else is. And I understand that's probably not as big of a deal when it comes to the Dodgers because they have a lot more money overall, whereas for the A's, they just don't compete at all anyway. But at the same time with it, you still have a ton of cash that is going to be going right down the drain every year that will not help your ball club win. And I know that like in the short term, it is fine. It is great. It is dandy. It is going to bring you a ton of money. But in the long term of it, you're going to have a decade of just bad Dodger teams. A decade plus.
Well,
keep in mind
I don't know about
Dodgers.
that.
This is
Yeah, the Dodgers churn out prospects like it's like they're like it like they have a factory or something. Like,
and then they're not going to be able to resign them, just like the Orioles.
But they're not the Orioles.
This is the thing is, I think they played in Los Angeles, yeah,
market in the United States. You're gonna have like even without Ohtani, you just remove Ohtani from the payroll this year. They're still top 3 in baseball, perennially top 5, maybe even number 1 a lot of years, depending on what Brian Cashman is twiddling with his thumbs. Like this is the Warriors with the Curry and Durant. They were paying way over the luxury tax every single season
easily
because their owners can afford it, right? The Dodgers, they can afford it. They aren't the doldrums of the league. They're not the Rockies. They're not the well, I guess the Padres have spent a lot more recently. They're not the Pirates. They're not the A's. They're not the Guardians. They're going to spend, and even without Ohtani, they're going to spend $200 million a year on their payroll, like $250 million. And that number is only going to grow with inflation. So you could have a world that your deferment to Ohtani, depending on however much that is, let's say it's 30 million. Other teams, yeah, that's as big as the payroll, half the payroll, more than the active roster, whatever. But with the Dodgers, that's going to be like 5th most. Like we had the joke that Bobby Bonilla makes more money than like Pete Alonso when Pete Alonso was winning home run derbies. The thing with the Dodgers, they have guys making more than that anyways. So it's not.
I mean, Mookie Betts is. I'm pretty sure his contract extension he signed was also like $360 million or something. Like that's the thing. That if this were a team other than like the Dodgers or the Mets or the Yankees, like it would. Yeah, I probably would wonder what the heck they were doing, but I think I mean, kind of what Splash said. I think this contract will pay for itself. I know that you mentioned like TV deals and stuff like that. I mean, I know this from talking to my mom and my grandmother that every single one of Shohei's games is on TV in Japan, and it goes beyond just Otani. I mean, I remember when I would go every summer, they would show almost any game that had a Japanese baseball player playing. Like I remember when Hideki Matsui was on Oakland, or when uh, like when Koji Uehara was on the Red Sox. Well, they also had Junichi Tazawa at the time, but like almost every Red Sox game was on. And before everyone in Japan became an Angels fan because of Otani, they were all Mariners fans because of Ichiro. And like the Mariners are still immensely popular there, and the Yankees were very popular because of Hideki Matsui. Like, and it's there's such a huge effect to this, in my opinion. And I mean, the Dodgers are already seeing it. I mean, the admission price to get into opening day at Dodger Stadium against the Cardinals has shot up to over $350 now just to get in. So I think the that's the thing is the Dodgers have the cash, like their ownership group has the cash where they can afford to be paying Otani for years down the line. And I think they'll be fine. They're still going to spend plenty of money on free agents. I mean, who knows who's going to be a free agent by the end of this contract, but yeah, the Dodgers I think are going to make out okay.
And they're going
What
to
I
sign
do want
Max
to ask
Fried
you,
next season. So
yeah, and I do want to ask you guys this though, which is something that was mentioned on MLB Network when they had Bob Costas on. But now that the Dodgers have signed Otani, where do you see them heading into this year? Because I feel like every year it's like the Dodgers are one of the favorites to make the World Series or win the World Series, and they always fall short. I mean, how do you see this club now that they have Otani on their roster?
I mean, I still think they win the division. Like, I think that they were already favorites. They're probably now the heavy favorites to win the division overall. I still don't think that they make the World Series, though. I think that there are so many other teams that are so beautifully stacked here, like even the Braves, specifically for one. The Diamondbacks are still dang good. You have so many other teams that even when you add a guy like Shohei Otani, and you do have a very scary 1 through 5, I don't think it's still enough because they still need starting pitching. They have some good relievers, not great though. You have a few decent ones, but the bullpen is still definitely a weakness. Their entire pitching staff right now is a weakness. So at this point right now, pitching is going to get you really, really far. And having a few really good high-powered offenses will get you pretty far as well. It's not going to get you to a World Series.
So if you go on like FanDuel, not sponsored, or any other book like that, the Dodgers are going to be your World Series favorites. I disagree. I think that's part of that's baking in that the Braves have more division competition in the Phillies, while the Dodgers, like even the Diamondbacks, are like in the middle of the pack in World Series odds. And they were just 3 games away from winning the World Series, if you can believe that. So the Dodgers, just odds wise, I guess I understand it. But if you're making power rankings, I don't think the Dodgers can be 1. And I don't even know if the Dodgers can be 2. I think there are other lineups in baseball that I have a lot more depth, definitely. But if you're comparing the LA lineup to Houston, even, I think Houston has more depth. I think Texas has more depth. I think Atlanta has more depth. And then you flip it over to the rotation, the pitching staff. Is it better than Atlanta? Is it better than Philly? I don't know. I don't think so. And yes, Bobby Miller is going to win 43 Cy Youngs in the next 2 years. I don't think that's possible, but he's going to figure it out.
It might be.
Figure it out. He might actually figure it out. They have Emmett Sheehan and Pepio and this like endless conveyor belt. They're getting Bueller back. Remember, Otani's not pitching this year, so you can't factor him into the calculus there.
Correct.
But you are trying to tell me that a team who's 5 through 9 hitters, so 1 through 4 is going to be some order of Betts, Otani, Freeman, Smith. That is bananas. Like, that is full stop bananas. That's the best top 4 I think you can have in baseball unless Marcelo Ozuna has a 900 OPS again. I don't know. Maybe that happens again. Who knows? But your 5 through 9 is Chris Taylor. Okay. James Outman. He was a nice rookie. Jason Hayward. He's a solid platoon guy. Great defensive player. Gavin Lux didn't play baseball last year. And Max Muncy, who is a good player, but it's going to strike out 190 times and hit like 180. So there's a limit to the value he brings, and he's not been as good defensively at third base. So that's a tough sell to me. That's tough when you, I'm not going to say auto outs, but it's tough when you have 5 average players after your 4 studs, after your 4 guys that you could have the argument the best second baseman in baseball, the best first baseman in baseball, the best DH in baseball, and the best catcher in baseball. You could make that argument. But then you're looking at bottom 20 guys, the other positions. I don't think Max Muncy's a top 10 third baseman. That could be an argument. Altman's not a top 10 center fielder. Hayward's not a top 10 right fielder. Lux is not a top 10 shortstop. All-star Chris Taylor is not a top 10 left fielder. And you look at other teams, the Braves, the Rangers, the Astros. I think they have more depth. I think the Yankees are a team that has little depth as possible. You can poke holes in their lineup all day. They might have more depth than the Dodgers with Torres and LeMahieu and Stanton after the Judge and Soto pieces there. That's a problem. And I think the Dodgers, of course, with the Ohtani, domino falling, they're going to probably get some guys that want to come in and say, oh, we're going to play for a little less money to play with Shohei and Betts and Freeman. Okay, great. When they sign Matt Chapman for $2 million a day, or sorry, $2 million a year, okay, then fair enough that they're moving up the rankings. But are they a better lineup 1 to 9 than the Blue Jays? I don't know.
Well, here's my concern. It's not necessarily in the lineup, because I feel like the Dodgers know how to get results out of anyone, no matter what.
This is a good point.
That's the thing, is JD Martinez was definitely on the downswing of his career. He goes to LA and bang, hits over 30 home runs again while not qualifying for the batting title. Jason Hayward became an above average hitter again. Where did that come from? Jason Hayward was, the Cubs fans were begging for him to get released from that ridiculous contract he signed. But my concern with the Dodgers roster is that pitching staff is held together by crazy glue, basically. They did not have a single pitcher qualify for the ERA title this year. They also only had one starting pitcher, they had 2 starting pitchers have an ERA plus over 100. Clayton Kershaw, who's out until the summer, and heck, we don't even know if he's going to be on the Dodgers next year, and Bobby Miller. Walker Buehler hasn't pitched since 2022. Dustin May, he's been out. It's just a major question mark. So really, I can't see them doing much different than this year. They're going to cruise to a division title, in my opinion, but can they get past the NLDS? I don't think they can get past the NLCS. I'll tell you that much. I don't think they're winning the World Series. So, well, yes, getting Shohei is a huge acquisition. They're just, I can't see them winning with their offense. I think their bullpen, with Evan Phillips and Brusdar Graterol. All right, yeah, I can get behind their bullpen sort of, but my God, that starting pitching rotation, it's very unlike Dodgers, I feel like, of recent years, but that's my biggest concern with this roster. So I think they're good, though.
Isn't it weird to think about with the Dodgers starting rotation that you look back even just a few years ago, and they had guys like Clayton Kershaw, they had out for a little bit Max Scherzer, you had Julio Urias, you had we were talking about them as one of the best in all of baseball, and now just a couple years later, they have potentially the worst.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because
also,
I remember
shout out Julio Urias being bad, but so yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because even in 2022, they turned Tyler Anderson into an all-star and Tony Gonsolin into an all-star.
Don't remind me about the Anderson one.
And then what's his name?
PTSD.
Andrew Heaney became a good pitcher for them. And all of a sudden, that Midas touch has they've lost it a little bit for their pitching staff. But yeah, so Any other final words on Otani before we move on to the other blockbuster of the week?
Well, I know the rotation has issues now, but Otani returns to pitching likely next season. They're going to
Yeah.
sign Max Fried. They'll be fine. They'll get another top prospect. Also, they did complete the circuit. They also had Trevor Bauer briefly.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about
don't
that.
remind me. Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah. So 2025 Dodgers World Series champs, I guess. Also, my favorite thing going on Fangraphs is with Mookie Betts moved to second, Dodgers infield risks coming up short. Maybe it's not as valuable to have him play second base.
I was confused.
I don't know why they're moving him to second base. He's so good in the outfield.
Thing is, he was really good at second base too. That's the issue.
Better in the outfield last year.
But yeah, he was. That's the thing is the outfield. I love watching him play the outfield, especially with that rocket launcher of an arm he has.
I have nightmares of Mookie Betts in the 2020 NLCS. It was the Braves were paid. I'm convinced the Braves were paid to hit fly balls to Bellinger and Betts so they could like drop their nuts on Atlanta.
I mean, it was insane. That's the thing is he's doing kind of the opposite of what Bellinger did because Bellinger started as a first baseman and moved to the outfield, and Betts is it's crazy because Betts was actually drafted as a shortstop, and he became an outfielder in Boston. Now I guess he's moving back to the infield. I think people also forget that Betts is only like 30. He's relatively young. So, anyways, and that's I think we've spoken plenty about Shohei Otani, and then there was another huge move last week, and I'm not referring to the Mets signing Austin Adams. I'm referring to the other New York team, the Yankees, acquiring Juan Soto from the Padres. It felt like we've been hearing this since the offseason began. Heck, even since the trade deadline, that the Yankees were going to make a move for Juan Soto, and it finally happened. They acquired him in exchange for 4 right-handed pitchers in Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Randy Vasquez, and Johnny Brito, as well as a backup catcher in Kyle Higashioka. 5. And I should mention they also got Trent Grisham in the return. The Yankees did. So they had 2 players for those 5 guys. Give me your reaction to this trade. Is it too much? Is it too little for the Padres? Are the Yankees going to extend him? I mean,
I think personally that the Padres pulled off an incredible move here. And the reason mostly I think about this is because, yes, I understand that Soto is extremely good. Grisham's also a very good baseball player. But you didn't know if you were going to have Juan Soto past 2024. And it wasn't looking like it because from everything that we've been hearing as well, he wants to play directly on a winner at this point, and he gets to, especially with now we just saw how happened with Shohei Otani's offseason. Don't you think that in the mind of Juan Soto, he could be thinking, that looks pretty good. That $700 million. He's not going to get $700 million, but being able to go for a mammoth contract at that point, I'm going to be honest here, and I'm probably going to get some flack for saying this. I think the Yankees made a horrible trade. The Yankees did a horrible move here. Because at this point, I don't know if you're going to have Juan Soto past the 2024 season, and you just gave up 7, not 1, not 2, not 3, 7 key pieces.
It was 5, not 7.
Sorry, they gave it. I thought it was 7. It was a 7.
It was originally going to be 7. But
you gave up 5 players for this, including some extremely good ones in Michael King and Kyle Higashioka, who right now is apparently the player they really wanted in that trade. Okay, cool. You know what? Really good catcher.
By the way, I was being very sarcastic when I said that in the pre-show.
You're a liar. Not kidding.
No. Drew Thorpe was Drew Thorpe, I would say, is probably the Drew Thorpe or Michael King is probably the centerpiece because they're both legitimate arms. I'll tell you that much.
Fair enough. At this point, though, I look at this, and this is I think I'm going to win right now move for the Yankees. And that makes sense. That's fine. Like, if you're willing to give up a lot of the future in order for 1 player like that or 2 players like that, that's fine. That works out well. And it's also going to be really fun this year to watch Aaron Judge and Juan Soto bat next to each other in the lineup. But is it worth it? if you do not sign a huge extension to Juan Soto, is it worth it? And I know we had this conversation, Splash, especially last week, a big debate on this too. And I still stand by my points. If you do not sign Juan Soto to that extension, this trade is abysmal for the Yankees. Because, hey, give me some flack here too on this one. I don't think they make the World Series either this year. I don't think it's like, yes, the Yankees definitely improved with this trade. They definitely got better with this trade. The AL East is so stupidly good right now that even having that 1-2, baseball is a team game. It's not a 1-2 man show. And the Yankees don't have the depth to make it happen this year. I think that they are making this move as a gamble in order to basically say, all right, we're betting that by having Juan Soto for a year in New York, we are going to be able to re-sign him to a massive contract. But if they fall short on that, they're going to be the laughing stock of the MLB.
Okay, I have 2 points. First of all, Aaron Boone, this is an open letter to you. If you think you're going to bat Juan Soto behind Aaron Judge, I will come to the Bronx and slap sense into you. You bat Soto in front of Judge. It's simple. I would bat Soto 1, Judge 2. If you don't want to do that because of optics or whatever, fine. But don't, for God's sake, do not bat Soto behind Judge. Put Soto in front of Judge. Soto walks 135 times a year. Put him in front of Judge. Judge hits like 60% solo home runs. Just put Soto on base. Please. Just please. Anyways, Alex, I'm gonna have to disagree with you again. And I have a take here. Juan Soto will generate more WAR, wins above replacement, pick your favorite one. He will generate more WAR this season than the 5 guys the Padres got will in their entire Padres tenure. In 2024, Juan Soto will generate more WAR, pick your favorite WAR, will generate more WAR than the Padres' entire return will their entire tenure in San Diego. Soto might only be there a year. I'm okay with making that bet. And yes, Soto is going to get a massive payday in the offseason. You know who can provide that massive payday? They play in the Bronx. They have a no facial hair policy. They've won 27 champions. Oh, that's right. The New York Yankees. Yeah. Guess where Juan Soto will be playing his home games next season? Oh, the Bronx. I think there's a very good chance he returns. Yes, it's going to be for a much, 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 much larger dollar figure, but I think they're going to get it figured out. You have Aaron Judge, you have Garrett Cole in that locker room. They could say, hey, the Yankees hit me up for $300 million. And I came out as a Cy Young Award winner, Garrett Cole. I won an MVP, Aaron Judge. Let's win some championships, plural, together. Let's get banner number 28 or title number 28. I think that's a pretty good pitch. And it's not like he was traded to the Rays that aren't going to pay him $5 million, let alone $500 million. The Yankees might do that. So I think it's a good move for 2024, and I think it's a very good chance he's back in New York next season. So a lot of your fears, Alex, I think I'm not going to say unfounded because there is a reasonable chance he leaves as well. But I think there's a better than 50% chance this works out positively for the Yankees moving forward.
Yeah, and I think really, unless something astronomically goes wrong this season with the Yankees, I can see there being a pretty good shot Soto stays in New York. I will say that's the difference between Soto and Ohtani is that the Angels were such a circus last year that, I thought there was such a low chance that Ohtani remained in Anaheim. I think most of the time when a player gets traded to a new team, I feel like they should be seen as the front runner to keep that player. That being said, if the Yankees, bomb out the way they did this year and miss the playoffs, then yeah, Soto probably leaves. But I think I'm not going to say the Yankees are world beaters right now. Heck, I don't even know if they win the AL East next year, but I think this puts them, I'd say, above Toronto in my eyes. I think that they are a playoff team, to say the least. You think if assuming Anthony Rizzo is healthy, you have a good first baseman in the lineup too, Gleyber Torres, Aaron Judge. You just got Alex Verdugo. Jose Trevino is a good defensive catcher behind the plate. The pitchers love working with him. So I think this puts the Yankees in a solid position to contend in 2024. And I think they do have a chance to re-sign him. Just because they don't sign him to an extension before the season starts doesn't mean they can't re-sign him in the offseason, the 2024 offseason. So I think I'm a little surprised that they were willing to give up Drew Thorpe in addition to Michael King, just because Thorpe was, minor league pitcher of the year. He is close to major league ready, in my opinion. Is he going to be as amazing as he was in college or this past year in the minors? Well, who knows? But I don't know if Michael King is going to be able to replicate what he did this past September. I mean, is Michael King a starter long term? He only went, 5 or more innings 4 times this season. The Padres got a mystery box, really, in my opinion. I think Thorpe probably is the most upside of the bunch. I think King can be a solid contributor as a starter or a reliever, but Soto is he's one of those players. He's only 25. His down years, quote unquote, are most players' best years. So I actually think this trade, it's not a bad move necessarily by the Yankees. Yeah, at first I was hesitant, but the more I think about it, the more I think Soto could remain a Yankee long term. So just
I'm gonna be very
yep, go ahead.
I'm gonna be very clear on this as well. If Soto stays in the Bronx, signs a big extension with them, then this move is fantastic for the Yankees. And they will outright come out way as the winners of this. But that is a huge if. That is a huge gamble. Because, especially like we were saying here, if that's only if he signs that extension. And right now, we are seeing a huge boom right now in free agency and these huge contracts here, especially with Ohtani just getting $700 million when a lot of people thought he was barely, it's like he was even going to get 600. And I think that right now, when you are a player that's only 25 years old and already arguably in the top 3 hitters in the game right now, why would you not want to test free agency and see how much people are willing to spend to get you? Especially considering as well, we saw what happened last year with Julio Rodriguez in the deal that he got as an extension with Seattle. He could be thinking at that point, well, heck, another team could give me that much money? At that, unless you are blown away by an offer that the Yankees give you, I don't think this is a high chance that he signs. I think it's less than 50%. And I understand, there's definitely the good bits of it where he's going to have a full year with the Yankees. He's also going to have a full year with the Yankee fans. He's going to have a full year in New York. And we've seen a lot of players be completely turned away by that fan base. We have seen a lot of players get thrown to the wolves with them, and they don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking too much of a shot here at Yankees fans. What I'm mostly talking about here is a lot of people know about the culture, and it's a very different culture than it is at a lot of other teams. If right now he likes it and he's good with all of it, and he signs that extension, good on you. Good job. You did the thing that you needed to do. If you don't, then you just gave up a ton for 1 year of one guy. And if going back to what you said about the bet here that you're making here, Splash, talking about him having more WAR this year than all the others will in their entire Padres tenure, I'll gladly take you up on that bet. Gladly, in fact.
Great deal.
I mean, the thing, it's really tough because I'll say this hard, but I'm thinking about what you were saying about Yankee fans is that I feel like this goes for New York. I mean, I say this as a New Yorker, which is that people either love it or hate it when it comes to the fans. Yankee fans are a very, very aggressive kind. They've been, I'd say, the Red Sox and the Phillies, it's an aggressive fan base, but some people endear themselves to Yankee fans or to New Yorkers in general. So I don't know. Juan Soto, from what I can tell, he's played in New York plenty when he was on the Nationals, facing the Mets. So I'm not sure where that will head, but I remember when Cliff Lee didn't want to sign in New York because of the way fans treated his wife and stuff. Like, we'll see how the year plays out. Someone tweeted like, what month does Juan Soto first get booed in? And it'll probably be like, I don't know, 2 games in the season when he takes an over. Like, I don't know. I remember when Giancarlo Stanton's first week as a Yankee, he went like 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, and he started getting booed. It's like, bro, it's been 1 game. It's already been like, it's just insane the way that happens. But anyway, any other final thoughts on Soto or the Yankees? Any of that sorts?
Please bet Soto lead off. Please. I'm begging the Yankees.
Lead off. Okay.
Soto lead off, Judge 2. Just
I
it
could
solves so
see
many issues. I know
I
you
could
don't
see
have
Soto being a
protection
leadoff
behind
guy.
Judge. I get
Yeah,
it.
no, I can see it. Yeah.
Protection, I think, is a bit of a myth, and other than the Mets, because they were just I feel bad for Pete Alonso. Just the guys the Mets were trotting out in the 5 hole. Just
Oh
I
my
feel bad
God,
for Pete
dude.
Alonso. Bro, like what are we doing?
With all
What
with
are
all due
we
respect
doing?
to with all due respect to Daniel Vogelback, he was not adequate protection for Pete Alonso. Like,
Daniel
dude, if you're
Vogelbach,
gonna be batting in the
Labs
ninth,
legend.
yeah, but if you're gonna be batting fifth in the lineup, please swing the bat. That's all I'm asking. Was it Sarah Langs, I think, who tweeted that Juan Soto has a very low swing percentage, but he makes those swings count.
It's like 35%
That's
in the last couple of years.
I know, but every time he swings, it feels like he does damage. I feel like people almost forget just how much power Juan Soto has. I think someone once compared him like Tony Gwynn with power. I mean, kind of. But anyways, that'll do it for the news-ish portion of our show. Make sure to drop us your thoughts on Soto and Otani and whatever other baseball moves you want us to talk about. I mean, maybe you're really fired up about the Mets signing Rylan Bannon or the Pirates signing Ryder Ryan. Anyways, we're going to move on to everyone's favorite segment, at least my favorite segment, which is trivia. And this week, Splash is going to take that one. So, Splash, it's all yours.
Hello, friends. Jim Nance, Phil Sims. I just tweeted out the our bet from our LAR podcast account. Make sure you follow us at LAR_baseball on the Bird app. But we are in the season of Hall of Fame voting. There's been, I think, 14 ballots, according to Ryan Thibodeau on the ballot tracker. So in honor of the ballot tracker, we are going to play an extra special version of the Wikipedia game featuring players who are on the Hall of Fame ballot this season. There's 26 players. I chose 5 of them. Mac, as the reigning trivia champion, because you beat me, you will have the option of going first here or going second here. But we will start. Our first player played for 5 teams. And for those unfamiliar with the Wikipedia game, shout out to the Total Soccer Show for the idea. I will read you 2 or 3 facts from the player's Wikipedia page. I will tell you how many teams he played for, and you guys will have to bid on that number of teams. So if you need the teams, then bid a positive number. If you think you can name the player without any help with the teams, you bid 0. If you think you can name the player and tell me teams he played for, then you can bid a negative number. Are we clear?
Yep.
Okay.
I think.
I'll go first.
Okay, well, you can bid first. So this player played for 5 teams with no repeats. Despite living just a short distance from Yankee Stadium, he rooted for the Toronto Blue Jays, who had, as he described, his Dominican heroes George Bell and Tony Fernandez on its roster. I had another one. It was a really, really good one. I forget. Here it is. As a child, he was obsessed with baseball. When he was 8 years old, his grandmother got him a Dodgers uniform with the number 30 on the back, which he considers to be one of his most prized possessions. He often played ball at nearby Snake Hill, the same place Lou Gehrig played during his childhood. Do you want one more fact?
Sure.
I think I'm good, but
Okay, go for it.
I'll give you one more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Later in the season, during a series with the Astros, he had a physical altercation with elderly traveling secretary Jack McCormick. The two were arguing over McCormick's inability to fill his players' large game day request for 16 tickets to the game in Houston. All right, Mac, you may begin the bidding.
You said that he played for 5 teams, right?
Yes, 5 teams.
Okay.
Give me -5.
So yeah, this is the problem that we had with the last time we did the Wikipedia game. We just went to -5.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure I know who
-5.
this is, and
I
so
I know who
I
it is
can't do
too.
anything different then.
Well, you will get the next player. Mac, name the player.
Name the player, Manny Ramirez.
Name the 5 teams.
All right. In order, I believe. Cleveland, the Red Sox,
Yes.
Dodgers, White Sox, Rays.
Yes, that is correct. Though he played at various points in the Oakland A's, Texas Rangers, and Chicago Cubs systems.
Yep.
All right,
correct.
Mac, you lead 1-0. Alex, are you prepared?
No, let's do this.
Okay. This player played for 6 teams. 6 teams.
Okay.
He was the last active player in any of the major North American professional sports leagues to have played in the 1980s. After making the deal official, former shortstop and legend of this team and fellow Venezuelan asked that his number be temporarily unretired for this player for the 2010 season. He became the 3rd oldest player to hit a triple behind Julio Franco and Nick Altrock. That's a name. Would you like any other hints?
Yeah. I think I know who it is, but I don't know all the teams that he was on. And that's the problem.
Huh.
Okay. I'll take my swing. You said it was 5 teams?
6 teams.
6 teams. I'm gonna go -3.
-3, Mac.
I'm going to go with. I'm thinking in my head real quick because I think I know who the player is. I'm going to go with -5.
Okay, go for it.
All right, Mac, name the player.
I believe this is Omar Vizquel.
All right, name 5 teams.
Name 5 teams. I'll go with the ones I know he played for: Cleveland,
Yep.
San Francisco,
Yep.
Giants, obviously, the White Sox,
Yep.
the Blue Jays,
Yep.
and I believe he came up with the Seattle Mariners.
That's 5. The only team you're missing, Texas. So that is a 2-0 lead for 1. Mac. All right.
He needs just 1 more point to win it.
Yep. All right. This player played for 6 teams. Count them, 6 teams. All right. Left unprotected in the 1997 MLB expansion draft. He was selected by the then Tampa Bay Devil Rays, only to be dealt hours later to the Phillies for shortstop Kevin Stalker, a trade regarded among the worst in MLB history. He had the last stolen base in the original Yankee Stadium. And in 2009, he led the American League in percent of pitches taken at 67.5%. That's very Juan Soto-esque. While having the 4th lowest percentage of swinging at the first pitch at 9.5%. Any other hints?
I think I'm good, and I think I can name. Okay.
One more. He dated former Miss Universe. That's pretty cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
All right.
Mac, you get the first bid.
Players or 6 teams.
All right. 6 teams. I believe I know all 6, so I'm going to go to -6.
Go
all
for
right.
it then, yeah.
Name the player.
This is Bobby Abreu.
Bobby Abreu was correct. Name the teams.
All right. I believe this is the order it was in too. Houston Astros.
Correct.
Philadelphia Phillies.
Correct.
New York Yankees.
Correct.
Los Angeles Angels.
Correct.
Los Angeles Dodgers.
Correct.
And of course, the New York Mets.
That would be correct. That would be a sweep. So congratulations, Mac. The other players that were on the docket, Chase Utley was number 4 player, and the number 5 player was Jose Reyes. So congratulations to Mac. Excellent performance today. Alex, I can't say bad performance. You just got you got.
I didn't
man.
get. Okay,
you didn't
so
have a shot. You didn't.
I didn't have a shot to play. I didn't even get to play the game.
Yeah,
no. I on the second
you had one
one,
shot. You said -3, and Mac was like, "Okay, I'll raise you -5." It's like, okay.
All right, that's how I had to. I would have had to go perfect, and I could not name all those teams for Omar. Like the only ones I knew for certain at that point were Cleveland and Seattle.
I think I could have gotten 5.
I forgot about Texas entirely.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten Texas. I could have like thought through Blue Jays eventually, San Francisco, Chicago, Seattle, and Cleveland, but I wouldn't have gotten Texas.
I remember even when he was on the Giants, though, he had an insane amount of range at shortstop. Like,
yeah, that's where he'll be Power Pros. He's on the Giants.
He's on the Giants, yeah. Anyways, thank you for that splash. You know, I don't know. Eventually, I'd like to run that back and see what happens. Anyways,
we could definitely do that when we get a little closer to Hall of Fame time.
Yeah, 100%. Anyways,
you think it was a little too easy because it was only Hall of Fame players?
No,
no, actually,
fair enough. Okay, because I don't think I've ever, in all my time listening to the Total Soccer Show, I don't know if I remember them having like topics for it. More or less, it was just random players. Although, again, with soccer, you have more, like say David Beckham. He's famous for like 3 teams, but he also played for other teams, right? But with baseball players, you have guys that hop around a lot, and they become famous for hopping around a lot. But those are the way outliers. Meanwhile, you have like Mookie Betts is going to play for 2 teams his entire career, or like Chipper Jones played for 1 his entire career. That would be a fun one, right?
That would
fun list of players. But the problem is there's only 1 team to bet on, right?
Yeah, well, then there's guys like, Ricky Henderson played for, man, it feels like he played for half the league. I mean, literally any pick a name out of a hat and he probably played for them. Mariners, Red Sox, Dodgers, Padres.
Played for 14 of 30 teams.
Yeah, exactly. Octavio
My guy,
Dotel
Bobo Newsom played for 9 of the 16 original 16.
Yeah, no, it's just like there's some guys. I mean, Goose Gossage. He was a true journeyman too. I mean, at this point, Rich Hill. I mean, we have a guy who might end up in the Hall of Fame. Craig Kimbrell's about to be on like his 9th team, if I'm not mistaken. Which is weird because
I thought he was going to be a Braves lifer for a while.
Yeah, same. So did I. I mean, there's some. I mean, I guess to a certain extent, like LeBron in basketball, like he's on his. I guess he played for Cleveland twice.
For the sake of this, it would be 4. But yeah.
Yeah, so like it'd be like his 4th deal. So I mean, that's the thing. It's such a dying act.
8 teams for Kimbrell. That is insane.
Well, and he just signed with Baltimore.
Yeah, that's it. So Braves, Padres, Sox, Cubs, White Sox, Dodgers, Phillies.
I know it's such an uncommon thing these days to, it's such an uncommon thing to spend your whole career with 1 team. Like Derek Jeter or Chipper Jones or Todd Helton. I mean, even in other sports, like nobody thought Tom Brady would ever play for another team, and all of a sudden he was on another team.
Yeah, true.
I mean, for me, I've never thought Jacob deGrom would leave the Mets, and now he's not on the Mets. Or who is it? I couldn't imagine David Wright playing for another team, but it's crazy how uncommon that is these days. Especially, that's what makes Mariano Rivera such a great player is that relief pitchers, I feel like above all, are the players that bounce around the most. And he maintained his role as the team's closer. Basically, from the moment he inherited his role in 1997 until the end of his career, he was the Yankees closer unless he got hurt, like he did in 2012. So, yeah. So, anyways, we're going to wrap up our show the way we wrap up every show, which is with the moment to ourselves. You have 60 seconds, give or take a few, to talk about whatever the heck you want to talk about. It could be baseball, it could be not baseball, it could be sports, it could be food, it could be whatever the heck you want to talk about. So, anyways, which one of you wants to go first? I can also try to go first, although I would have to conjure something up real quick. So, uh, I
I'll
mean,
go first. I'll go first this
all
time.
right,
Sure.
Alex, your time starts in three, two, one, go.
So I've talked about this kind of topic a number of times here, and it's an important one to me, and that's mental health. I've been working a lot on mine, and obviously not having a job anymore does hurt a bit, but that's okay. Honestly, it was planned, so that's okay, and they intend on bringing me back, so that's cool. But I want to kind of give a bit of a progress report a little bit because I feel like I've been doing pretty well. I've been on some antidepressants for a bit, and family has taken a huge notice. They've even been coming up to me and saying, "Alex, you feel different. You look different. You're sounding different, and that's all a good thing." And I'm like, great. I don't know how much I feel it yet, but I'm sure I will soon. So I feel like, honestly, anybody that's still on that journey, keep going. Like, this is the first time in my life that I'm really doubling down on it. I'm really putting in that effort towards mental health and trying to improve it. And I am starting to see the results. I'm starting to see things, and you know what? It's something that I'm passionate about. And I think if you're struggling with it, there are resources out there.
I mean, it's something that I've obviously like when I was in grad school, that was definitely a big thing for me. I mean, that's why I still work out regularly. Like I discovered that actually, I mean, when I was an athlete, like swimming was obviously like it felt like a huge responsibility, but now it's actually I've noticed this in grad school. It almost became a way for me to clear my head from all those things. So, anyways, Splash, do you want to go next for your moment to yourself, or
I
because
can.
all right, are you ready?
Sure.
All right, three, two, one, go.
Hello, friends. Jim Nance, Phil Sims, the whole ordeal. Uh, so I missed out on Thanksgiving. You guys can remember I was not on the post Thanksgiving podcast because I was sick and working, but I was mainly sick and couldn't talk. Um, so the last couple of days, I've been thinking how I could make Christmas better for the family. So I made the decision to buy some new games for us to play at my uncle's house. So they have an assortment anyways, but I got a one that's called Blank Slate. So you fill in the blank. So it'll give you like a word and then a blank. So say like time, then a blank. So you might say time span or time clock or time whatever, time out, whatever it may be. So that's cool. I saw another game, Throw Burrito and Throw Avocado. I'm excited for those. My grandmother's not quite as excited because that involves like a dodgeball element. And I discovered this game called Poetry for Neanderthals. I'll let you guys know how it goes. So I'm excited for Christmas. Hopefully, I'm not sick this time.
Yeah, and I
Poetry for
hope
Neanderthals is really fun. I've
is
played it.
it.
It's a good time. Yeah.
I've actually never heard of that game. Interesting.
Some
I'll have
friends of
to.
mine introduced it to me. It's all about trying to get across clues only using monosyllabic words. And if
Wow.
you and if you say anything wrong, there's an inflatable like little club that comes with the game that you can and you bash the person who said the word.
Yeah, like so if you were trying to convey campfire, you couldn't say marshmallow, but you could say make food hot,
War.
burn.
Huh.
It's like warm wood.
Is it like the game Taboo? Like,
In a
Yes,
sense,
yes,
yes.
okay,
exactly. But
because I
it's
played Taboo
more
before.
it's like a tighter knit, tighter group, tighter instructions.
All right. I will begin my time in three, two, one. So yeah, I'm about to go on vacation. I'm going to sort of speak to a little bit of what Alex was saying about mental health and stuff, but I feel like it is important to sort of give yourself a break at some point. I feel like I've had a very busy year as a whole, working full time finally. So I'm definitely going to relish this. I'm going down to see my brother. I feel like I don't get to hang out with him all that much, considering he's normally doing research on remote islands. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I like, holidays are coming up, so I'm sure I'll get to see a lot of my family throughout that. I'm also just looking forward to eating a bunch of food. I'll just say that right now. Anything that involves eating and food, I'm probably gonna like it. That's why I love Thanksgiving normally, and I love the holidays. Is that normally my mom makes something amazing for it. We also get a ton of desserts, which I mean, we just did that for my dad's birthday yesterday. We went to a local bakery and got a ton of like random cakes and donuts and tarts and stuff. So yeah, that's I just will say that's my favorite part of the holidays is all the eating. I can't quite eat as much as I used to, like when I was a varsity athlete, but don't tempt me with a good time is all I'm gonna say.
How long are you going to be in Atlanta?
I'm gonna be there 5 days, 4 nights.
Okay, because we're gonna end up tied because I was only there 5 days this year.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
wow.
wow.
That's a little sad, but okay.
I mean, I don't know how long my brother's gonna be there. That's the thing. He's working on his PhD. He's been there for well, he started at Georgia Tech in 2020, but he's because of his research, he's been away for so much of it that like this year, I know he was going back to like French Polynesia and stuff every couple months. Like it was, he was barely in the States this year. I don't know how often that's going to happen going forward, but I also don't know how long it's going to take him to complete his degree. So I'm sure I'll be like I know this is only the second time I've visited him since he moved there. I visited him last spring after I graduated. Before that, I hadn't been there since 2010. Like it's I don't know. I don't have as much time to travel anymore. I will say now that I'm employed. So,
All right.
uh,
Well, one
anyways,
day we'll
that
have
yeah,
LAR headquarters and we can have a heli.
Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
100%.
Um,
Yes.
so, anyways, that'll do it for our moment to ourselves. That'll wrap up our show. Make sure to first of all drop us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this show. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Follow myself at Mathias_A_K. Follow Splash at Mr. Splashman19. Follow Alex at the Sports Guy 242. And of course, make sure to follow the Losses Above Replacement Twitter account at LAR_baseball. You'll see us
Okay,
posting.
we have breaking news.
Oh,
According to The Athletic, Shohei Ohtani will defer $68 million per year of
what?
his $70 million annual salary over the course of his 10-year deal.
So
What?
Wait, what?
wait,
What?
that can't
There's
be
no
right.
way that's
That
This
possible.
is
can't be
from The
right.
Athletic, and this was reposted by Rosenthal.
No
What?
way.
I'm sure this is something you guys will see on our Twitter with our I'm sure we will take to
What?
Twitter to explain
What?
this because that is absurd. There's no way, right?
There's no
No,
way.
no, no, no.
That
Whoa,
can't be
I
accurate.
Okay,
68 million per year.
the deferred money. Wait. So
Wait,
okay,
I see this.
the deferred money is
Otani
to be
will
paid
defer.
out without interest from 2034 to 43.
So, how much money is he making in that?
If
I'm
he's
so
making
confused.
brother, if he's making $2 million a year for
I'm
10
so
years,
confused right now, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
what?
What?
How do you defer 68 million per year of a $70 million contract?
Also, I'm confused as how they're only deferring it through 2043. Oh my god, I'm
Are you
lost.
wait a minute? So is that what I'm saying? Like for what I was saying earlier, if it's going to be $68 million just dead cap every year?
I
Are you
am
kidding?
so
They're
confused right
they're gonna
now.
put more
That's a
money
little
into
How is this
excessive.
even
I will
possible?
agree with you there, Alex.
there are going to be more. That's more in dead cap than a lot of teams are paying for their own team times two. In one
Yeah,
No,
wait. So that's
What?
larger than teams' payrolls. What the heck?
if it was like
This is
35 and
Are
it
you
was like
kidding?
just split halfway, then like okay, fine. But bro, if it's $68 million a year,
I'm so
There's
confused right
no
now.
way.
no,
There
no,
is no chance.
I refuse to believe that
I'll
Of
oh
course,
my
happens
god.
right as we end the podcast,
Yeah,
right?
I will say that's insane. But if you want more, first drop us a line on what you think about all these moves, especially the Otani and Soto moves. Drop us a line at LAR_baseball. And
Also,
also,
Eduardo Rodriguez.
yeah, I'm sure you'll see us put our takes out there, and you can agree, disagree, tell us we're stupid. I don't know, all that stuff. But anyways, with that in mind, thank you all for listening. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all real soon. Thank you.